Batgan Temujin, the Gobi's ghost road. The call came from a dusty office on the edge of Sainchand. The logistics company was small, 6 trucks, 2 dispatchers, and a manager named Baterdine whose hands shook when he spoke of the losses. 3 trucks in 2 months, he said. Same stretch of road, always after dark. The police say bandits. They take the cargo and leave the vehicles burned. But the burns look too clean, and the drivers, they remember nothing useful. One says the radios died. Another says the stars looked wrong. Temujin studied the map. The stretch in question ran through a particularly empty quarter of the Gobi, a place where the horizon stayed flat for hours, and the wind erased tracks almost as soon as they were made. He had crossed that country as a boy with his uncles, learning how the land could hide things if a person knew how to ask it. "I'll go," he said. He reached the region at dusk 2 days later, driving a borrowed Japanese pickup that blended with every other working vehicle on the desert tracks. He made no attempt to announce himself. Instead, he parked a kilometer off the main road, shut off the engine, and waited. Patience was the first tool, the second was memory. As a child, he had been taught that the Gobi never truly empty. Even in places that looked barren, there were old caravan paths, dry wells, and shallow depressions where a vehicle could drop out of sight for a time. He walked the ground at first light, reading the soil the way other men read newspapers. Most tracks were ordinary, truck tires, goat herds, the occasional motorcycle. But in one low basin, half a kilometer west of the official road, he found something different. Repeated heavy tire marks that entered the depression and did not leave in the same direction. The soil had been carefully brushed in places. Someone was trying to keep the path invisible from the air. He followed the hidden route on foot until it joined a wider track that curved toward a cluster of low hills. From the crest, he saw the operation. A temporary camp sat in a sheltered hollow, 3 large trucks with changed plates, a generator, and a lattice of antennas. Men in plain work clothes moved with the efficiency of people who had done this many times. One of them carried a case that looked like military communication gear. Jamming equipment. That explained the dead radios and the sudden confusion of the drivers. Temujin watched through the afternoon. The pattern became clear. Legitimate mineral shipments from smaller mines were intercepted on the main road under cover of darkness. The cargo, high-grade copper and fluorspar, was transferred to the unmarked trucks. The original vehicles were driven a short distance, set alight, and left for the police to find. The stolen ore moved south on the hidden track toward a private siding where it could be loaded onto rail cars belonging to a large mining conglomerate. On paper, the conglomerate's own production numbers stayed clean. In reality, they were quietly absorbing the output of competitors too small to fight back. Corporate theft dressed as banditry. That night, Temujin moved closer. He disabled 2 of the jamming units with a few precise cuts to their power cables, then placed a small GPS beacon under the chassis of the largest transfer truck. He did not try to stop the next interception. He needed proof that would survive contact with lawyers. At dawn, he drove to the nearest town with a working phone signal and contacted 3 people. A journalist who specialized in resource corruption, an officer in the National Anti-Smuggling Unit he had worked with years earlier, and Baterdine. "Tell your remaining drivers to stay off that stretch for 48 hours, Temujin said. "After that, the road should be clear." The operation unraveled faster than the conglomerate expected. When the transfer truck reached the rail siding, the anti-smuggling unit was already waiting. The GPS log, the photographs Temujin had taken of the camp, and the testimony of one frightened contractor who decided cooperation was safer than silence left little room for denial. The jamming equipment was seized. 2 mid-level managers were detained. The larger company issued a statement about unauthorized subcontractors and began the long process of distancing itself from the scheme. Temujin returned the borrowed pickup and met Baterdine one last time in Sainchand. "The road is open again," he said. "Your trucks can run, but keep your drivers alert. The desert remembers every path that is used too often." Baturdin offered payment. Temujin took only enough to cover fuel and food. The rest, he said, should go toward better radios and a second spare tire for each vehicle. That evening he stood at the edge of town and looked south. The Gobi stretched away under a sky the color of old iron. Somewhere out there, the hidden track was already beginning to fade under the wind. Tracks never lasted long in that country unless people kept using them. He thought of the childhood stories, ghost caravans, roads that appeared only for those who already knew the way. The old tailies had not been wrong. They had simply needed updating. The ghosts now wore corporate logos and carried electronic silencers, but the land itself remained the same, patient, exacting, and unwilling to keep secrets forever from someone willing to walk it slowly enough to listen. Temujin turned back toward the lights of the town. The ghost road had been closed, at least for now. The small company would keep moving its cargo, and the desert, as it always had, would continue to test whoever tried to claim it.